You make more money than you did 5 years ago, maybe a lot more, but your bank account looks exactly the same, maybe worse. Welcome to the lifestyle trap, the invisible prison that keeps millions of high earners living paycheck to paycheck. I'm about to show you exactly how this trap works, why your brain falls for it every single time, and most importantly, how to escape before it's too late. Because here's the truth nobody wants to admit. Most people who look rich are actually drowning in debt. And the people who are actually building wealth, they look completely ordinary. Stick around because this might change how you see money forever. Hi, I'm Buck. I'm a simple, ordinary man and live in a small town in the mountains. I love talking about money, but not the complicated kind. I take all that confusing financial stuff and break it down so it actually makes sense. No jargon, no fluff, just simple money talk for everyday people. Today I'm going to show you how lifestyle inflation quietly eats your raises and why earning more money will never make you rich if you don't understand this one thing. Let me paint you a picture that probably sounds familiar. You just got promoted. Your salary jumped from $60,000 to $75,000. That's an extra $15,000 a year. After taxes, maybe an extra $800 a month hitting your bank account. Your first thought? Finally, I can breathe, I can start saving, I can get ahead. But then something happens, something sneaky, something you don't even notice until it's too late. You upgrade your apartment because you deserve a nicer place after working so hard. That's an extra $400 a month. You lease a better car because your old one was embarrassing. Another $350 gone. You start eating out more because you're too busy and successful to cook. $150 extra. New wardrobe for your new position. Gym membership you'll definitely use this time. Premium streaming subscriptions. And just like that, your $800 raise has completely vanished. Actually, you're spending more than before. This is lifestyle inflation. And it's the silent killer of wealth that nobody warns you about. The crazy part. This happens at every income level. People making $50,000 fall for it. People making $500,000 fall for it. I've seen doctors making $300,000 a year who are one missed paycheck away from disaster. Meanwhile, I know teachers making $60,000 who are quietly building $1 million net worth. The difference isn't how much money you make, it's how much money you keep. And that's determined by one thing: the gap between your income and your lifestyle. So, why do we keep falling for this? Why does every raise seem to disappear before we can save it? The answer's in your head, literally. Your brain is running ancient software that was never designed for modern money. See, for most of human history, resources were scarce and couldn't be stored. And if you found extra food, you ate it immediately because it would rot. Your brain learned, when resources come in, use them now. Tomorrow isn't guaranteed. That programming is still running. Every time you get extra money, your ancient brain screams, spend it before it disappears. But it gets worse. Your brain also has something called hedonic adaptation. Sounds fancy, but it basically means you get used to everything. Remember when you thought a used Honda was perfectly fine? Then you upgraded to a nicer car and thought, this is amazing. Fast forward 6 months, that amazing car is now just your car. The excitement is completely gone. Now you want something better. This happens with everything. Your apartment, your phone, your vacations, your clothes. The thrill fades and you need something new to feel the same high. It's like a drug addiction, except the drug is lifestyle upgrades and the dealer is literally everyone trying to sell you something. And then there's social comparison, the most dangerous trap of all. You're not comparing yourself to who you were last year. You're comparing yourself to your neighbor's new truck, your coworker's vacation photos, that influencer's perfect life that doesn't actually exist. Here's the joke: your neighbor's probably broke. Your coworker put that vacation on a credit card. And that influencer, they're selling you a fantasy while living in their parents' basement. But your brain doesn't know that. All it sees is, they have nice things, I don't, something must be wrong with me. So you spend money, you don't have to impress people you don't like with things you don't need. And the cycle continues. Let's talk about what lifestyle inflation actually costs you. Not just money, but your freedom, your time, and your future. Every unnecessary dollar you spend isn't just a dollar gone, it's what that dollar could have become. That $400 apartment upgrade, over 30 years invested at 7%, that's nearly $500,000. $500,000 gone for slightly more square footage that you got used to in 3 months anyway. That car upgrade, another 3 to 400,000 in lost wealth over your working life. For transportation, that does the same thing as a cheaper option. Add it all up, the nicer apartment, the better car, the dinners out, the subscriptions, the random Amazon purchases, and we're talking millions of dollars that could have been working for you, generating passive income, buying your freedom from work decades earlier. But the money is just part of it. What about the time? Think about how many hours you work to pay for stuff you don't actually need. Now, let's say you make $30 an hour after taxes. That fancy coffee every morning costs you 40 minutes of your life every single day. That car payment consumes an entire week of work every month, a week of your life gone just to drive something shinier than necessary. When you think about money as time, suddenly every purchase becomes a question. Is this worth X hours of my life? And then there's the freedom cost. Every dollar committed to lifestyle expenses is a dollar that chains you to your job. You can't quit the job you hate because you need that paycheck to cover the lifestyle you've built. You've built your own prison. That boss who disrespects you, you can't walk away. That toxic work environment, you're stuck. Those dreams of starting your own thing, maybe someday. This is the real cost of lifestyle inflation. Not just money, it's your options, your flexibility, your ability to say no to things that make you miserable. Now, let me tell you something that might blow your mind. That rich-looking person you're comparing yourself to, they're probably poorer than you. There's a massive difference between looking wealthy and being wealthy, and most people have it completely backwards. Looking wealthy means spending money on things that signal status. Expensive cars, designer clothes, luxury apartments, fancy dinners. Being wealthy means having assets that generate income, investments, rental properties, businesses, money that makes more money while you sleep. Here's the brutal truth. Every dollar you spend on looking wealthy is a dollar you can't invest in actually being wealthy. The average millionaire doesn't drive a luxury car. Studies show most millionaires drive Toyotas, Hondas, and Fords. They live in average neighborhoods, wear normal clothes, and you never pick them out of a crowd. That's exactly how they became millionaires. Meanwhile, the guy in the $70,000 truck is statistically more likely to have a negative net worth than a positive one. He's not rich. He's just really good at looking rich while making a bank very happy with his interest payments. This is the comparison trap in action. You're comparing your behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel. Social media has made this 1,000 times worse. You're seeing the best moments of thousands of people and comparing them to your average Tuesday. Of course, you feel like you're falling behind. You're running a race that doesn't exist against people who aren't even real competitors. Let me show you some math that changed how I think about everything. Let's say you make $75,000 a year. After taxes, you take home maybe $55,000. If your lifestyle costs $50,000, you save $5,000 a year. At that rate, investing at 7%, you'll have about $700,000 after 30 years. Not bad, but you're working until you're at least 65, maybe 70. Now watch what happens if you keep your lifestyle at 40,000 instead. Same salary, but now you're saving 15,000 a year. Triple the savings rate after 30 years, over $2 million. But here's the real magic. You probably don't need 30 years anymore. If you can live on 40,000, you only need about $1 million to be financially free. That's a 4% withdrawal rate. At 15,000 a year savings, you could hit that in about 20 years. You could potentially retire in your 40s instead of your 60s. 20 years of extra freedom, 20 years of doing whatever you want, 20 years of not having to answer to anyone. All because you didn't upgrade your lifestyle when you got raises. This is the secret that wealthy people understand. It's not about how much you make. It's about the gap between what you make and what you spend. The bigger the gap, the faster you're free. Every raise is an opportunity to make that gap bigger, but most people do the opposite. They use raises to make their lifestyle bigger, keeping the gap exactly the same. Like same stress, same paycheck to paycheck existence, just with nicer stuff. So, how do you actually escape? How do you break free from the lifestyle trap when your brain is constantly working against you and everyone around you is spending like crazy? First, you need to understand something critical. Willpower doesn't work. You can't just decide to spend less. Your brain will find a way to justify every purchase. That shirt is on sale. I deserve this after a hard week. It's an investment in myself. Instead, you need systems. Automatic systems that make good decisions for you before your brain can interfere. The first system is pay yourself first. The moment your paycheck hits your account, a predetermined amount should automatically transfer to savings and investments, not what's left over at the end of the month. That will always be zero. The money leaves before you can spend it. You learn to live on what remains. This one change alone is more powerful than any budgeting app or spending tracker. Second system, the 48-hour rule for any non-essential purchase over $50. You wait 48 hours before buying. Write it down, walk away. If you still want it 2 days later, maybe it's worth having. You'll be amazed how many things you desperately wanted become completely forgettable in just 2 days. That urgency you feel is manufactured. It's not real desire. It's marketing working exactly as designed. Third system, lifestyle anchoring. When you get a raise, immediately increase your automatic savings by at least half of the raise. If you got an extra $500 a month, $250 goes straight to investments before you see it. This way, your lifestyle can still improve, just slowly. You get some benefit from working hard, but you're also building wealth automatically. You're not relying on willpower or future discipline that never comes. Fourth system, the true cost calculator. Before any major purchase, calculate not just the price, but what that money would become if invested. That $5,000 vacation, in 20 years at 7%, that's almost $20,000. Maybe the vacation is still worth it. So maybe those memories are priceless. But at least now you're making an informed decision instead of an impulsive one. You know what you're actually trading. Fifth system, environment design. You become like the people you spend time with. If all your friends are upgrading their lifestyles constantly, you'll feel the pressure to keep up. This isn't about ditching your friends. It's about expanding your circle. Find communities of people who are building wealth, who value financial independence, who measure success differently than stuff. Online communities, local meetups, podcasts. Surround yourself with different voices. When you spend time with people who drive modest cars and invest aggressively, suddenly your Honda doesn't feel embarrassing anymore. It feels smart. It feels like a badge of financial intelligence. But honestly, all these systems only work if you have the right mindset underneath them. You need to fundamentally change how you think about money. Here's the shift that changed everything for me. I stopped seeing money as something to spend and started seeing it as employees I could hire. Every $100 invested at 7% earns me about $7 a year, forever. That's like hiring a tiny employee who works for me around the clock and never asks for a raise. Now, when I think about spending $100 on something I don't need, I'm not just losing $100. I'm firing an employee who could have worked for me for the next 40 years. That fancy dinner out, I'm firing 3 employees. That designer bag, 20 employees gone. That car upgrade, hundreds of employees terminated before they could ever work for me. Once you see money this way, Spending becomes painful in a healthy way. You're not depriving yourself, you're choosing to build an army of employees instead of buying momentary pleasure. Here's another mental shift: redefine what rich actually means to you. Most people define rich as having expensive stuff. That's not rich, that's looking rich. Real rich is having options. Rich is being able to quit a job that makes you miserable. Rich is taking 6 months off to travel without financial worry. Rich is never having to check your bank balance before buying groceries. Rich is helping your kids without going into debt. Rich is handling emergencies without panic. Rich is waking up on Monday and choosing to work because you want to, not because you have to. When you redefine rich as freedom instead of stuff, the whole game changes. Suddenly, saving money isn't deprivation. It's buying freedom $1 at a time. Here's something nobody tells you about keeping your lifestyle reasonable. The benefits go way beyond the math. When you're not dependent on a high income to survive, something magical happens to your career. You can negotiate harder because you can afford to walk away. You can take risks because failure won't destroy you. You can speak your mind because losing this job isn't a catastrophe. Ironically, this often leads to making more money. Confident people get promoted. Risk takers find opportunities. People who don't reek of desperation get better job offers. Your relationships improve too. Money stress is one of the top causes of divorce. When you're not constantly fighting about finances, when unexpected expenses don't cause panic, when you have margin in your life, everything is calmer. Your health improves. Financial stress is literally killing people. It raises blood pressure, disrupts sleep, weakens immune systems, and leads to anxiety and depression. Getting your finances under control is a healthcare intervention, and your creativity flourishes. When your brain isn't consumed by financial survival, it has space to dream, to plan, to build things. Some of the best ideas come from people with financial margin who can afford to experiment. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. This sounds like you're saying I should never enjoy my money. Just save everything and live like a monk until I die with millions I never spent. That's not what I'm saying at all. Life is meant to be lived. Experiences matter. Joy matters. The goal isn't to hoard money. It's to be intentional about where your money goes. The key word is intentional. Most lifestyle inflation isn't intentional. It's automatic. It's thoughtless upgrades that don't actually make you happier, and it's spending to impress people or fill emotional voids. Ask yourself, does this spending actually improve my life? Not for a day or a week, but genuinely, sustainably improve my life? A vacation with family that creates lasting memories? Absolutely worth it. A nicer car that you'll get used to in 3 months? Probably not. Quality tools for a hobby you love? Great investment in your well-being? Designer clothes to impress strangers? Probably wasted money. Moving to a walkable neighborhood that improves your daily life? Could be worth every penny. A bigger house just because you can afford it? Probably lifestyle inflation. The goal is to spend extravagantly on the things that truly matter to you while ruthlessly cutting everything that doesn't. Most people do the opposite. They spread money thin across everything and end up with nothing special. Let me leave you with a warning. The lifestyle trap gets harder to escape the longer you're in it. Every year, the golden handcuffs get tighter. Every upgrade adds another bar to your cage. I've seen people making $500,000 a year who are completely trapped. They have the big house, the luxury cars, the private school tuition, the expensive vacations, and they can't stop working for even 6 months without financial ruin. They have a high income, but zero freedom. They've traded time for money and then immediately traded all that money for stuff. They're just highly paid prisoners. Meanwhile, people making a third as much who kept their lifestyle in check are retiring early, pursuing passions, actually living the life that the high earner thought their stuff would provide. The best time to escape the lifestyle trap was before you got into it. The second best time is right now. Every day you wait, the cage gets a little more comfortable and a lot harder to leave. So, Here's my challenge to you. The next time you get a raise, before you upgrade anything, ask yourself, do I want nicer stuff? Or do I want to be free faster? Because you can't have both. Every dollar is a vote for the life you want. Are you voting for stuff, or are you voting for freedom? The choice is yours, but now you can't pretend you don't know the trade-off. Let me tell you about two people I know. Both started their careers at the same time, making the same salary. Person A did what everyone does. Every raise meant a lifestyle upgrade. Better apartment, nicer car, fancier vacations. By 40, Person A was making $150,000 a year. Nice house in the suburbs, 2 car payments, kids in private school. Looked incredibly successful. But behind closed doors, constant stress about bills, zero savings beyond the retirement account they couldn't touch, fighting with their spouse about money. Person B took a different path. Same raises, but they kept their lifestyle mostly flat. Same reasonable apartment for years. Drove cars until they died. Their co-workers thought they were weird. Why aren't you upgrading? You can afford better. Person B just smiled and kept investing the difference. By 40, Person B had accumulated over $800,000 in investments, rich enough to choose. When their company went through layoffs, Person A panicked. They took whatever job they could get, even though it was a step backwards. Person B, they saw the layoff as an opportunity. Took 6 months off. Started a small business they'd been dreaming about. Same starting point, same income, completely different lives. The only difference was one choice, repeated over 20 years. Before I go, let me talk about subscription creep. $10 here, $15 there. Just a few bucks a month, right? The average American has 12 paid subscriptions. That's often $200 to $300 a month on things you might not even use. Streaming services you watch once a month, apps you forgot you had, gym memberships collecting dust. Do a subscription audit right now. I guarantee you'll find at least $50 a month you forgot you were paying. $50 a month invested over 30 years? That's over $70,000 for stuff you don't even remember. Let's talk about the biggest lifestyle inflation trap. Housing. Buy as much house as you can afford, they say. This is insane. More house means more mortgage, more taxes, more insurance, more utilities, more maintenance, more furniture to fill it. That extra bedroom you'll use twice a year? Yeah, it costs you $50,000 and chains you to a higher payment for 30 years. The wealthiest people I know live in houses way below what they could afford. They'd rather have options than extra square footage. Here's the final truth. The lifestyle trap isn't really about money. It's about meaning. People inflate their lifestyles because they're trying to fill a void. They think the next purchase will finally make them feel complete. But stuff never fills that void. The more you have, the more you want. The hedonic treadmill never stops unless you choose to step off. The people who escape have found meaning beyond consumption. Maybe it's relationships. Maybe it's purpose. Maybe it's impact. When you have that, the urge to upgrade fades. You don't need a bigger house when yours is filled with love. So, yes, build those systems. Do the math. Resist comparison. But also ask yourself, what am I really searching for? Because if you're trying to buy happiness, you'll never have enough. But if you're building wealth to support a life of meaning, every dollar brings you closer. That's the real escape. Not just changing spending habits, but changing what you're spending your life on. You want to take your first step toward financial freedom? Be honest. Do you even know how much you spent this month? Like the real number? Most people don't, and that's exactly why they stay trapped. Watch this video right here, take action today, and I promise you, you won't regret it.